Alright, so this tire is obviously worn, but if we generally look at the total overall diameter, hold on, let me fumble this for a second, of this, which is a 14-inch, a 90/100, 14, like we were talking about. Except this used to be a knobby, and based on the height of those knobs that are not worn off, I can probably estimate that, add another 1/2 inch or so. But we see the total diameter roughly, if we add the knobs that are missing, 20.5-ish or so. Now I'm missing my splash shield right here, but let's just assume that because it originally bolted up here, went down to here, but realistically I can't have it hit the swing arm, obviously, right? So my total that I have before, let's give us a little bit of clearance, say 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, go to the axle, I'd call that 11 inches from wheel center to within a 1/2 inch of my swing arm. So 22 inches total would be the total wheel and tire diameter that I could not exceed on this bike without having it hit here. And since, you know, that splash shield kind of comes up here, it shouldn't hit that either. So you'd want to measure from here to as much room as you've got. I mean, if your splash shield is still here, measure to maybe within a 1/4 inch of that, 1/2 inch back. And then whatever that measure is, double that. That's your total wheel tire diameter you cannot exceed, if that helps at all. Honestly, this, I don't even know what brand this is. This even has a brand. This is the tire that was on this thing when I got it. Let's move some crap off the table here and take a look. Tough Gear F. Junkai. That's appropriately named, isn't it? For a Chinese bike. You can also measure your total here too by going right to the bottom and then seeing where you land. Clearly this tire is super worn out. It was probably originally 20.5 inches. But then again, I got another 1/2 inch on the bottom, so that 21 inches we figured earlier with our math is probably accurate to what this tire and wheel was when it was new. But obviously this is drag slick now. The kid that had it wrecked that tire pretty good. But that's how you'd figure out how much room you have. And then obviously with width, you just want to measure. When they're measuring the width of these, they're measuring the total width, usually from the middle of the sidewall to the middle of the sidewall, not from like lug to lug or anything like that. So this distance is going to be wider. Yeah, or maybe not. Maybe that's the total width. 4 inches is 100 millimeters. And then 90 is 90% of that. So originally this would have been 3.5 tall. So you can see I'm missing 3/4 of an inch of tread. But you can measure the space you have in between your swing arm there to determine the width of tire. But then obviously this have to all fit on the rim. Now this is much like yours, 1.85 wide but this is a 14. I think you said you had 16s. So if you wanted to switch to 14-inch rims, it should work. This is an X Pro X9. You might have luck just looking up wheels and tires for this guy, because you can still buy X Pro parts pretty easily. So give that a shot, run your numbers, and see what you end up with. Maybe just get these wheels and tires for X Pro X9. The front's not though. The front on this, I think, is actually a 17.
You're not
out of here, funnel. Yeah, the front is a 70-117 and a 1.6 by 17 rim. So clearly this is not a supermoto. If it had a that wheel and tire on the front, but I don't know if it would fit between the forks. Again, I have to do measuring, but this was supposed to be for trails and little back roads and crap, not road. Yeah, so hope that helps, my man.